Anybody can tell me what is SA 210? What is SA 210? How did we remember 210? 21. 21 is the age of engagement or not? 21 is the age of engagement or not? So what is the name of the standard? Initial audit engagement terms. Initial audit engagement terms. And what is another name of this standard? What is another name of this standard? Audit engagement letter. Another name of this standard is audit engagement letter. So tell me one thing. Should we directly accept the appointment letter given by the management? Should we directly accept the appointment letter given by the management? No, we should not accept it directly. Then what shall we do? We should first send the audit engagement letter. So tell me guys, audit engagement letter is a letter sent by whom to whom? Audit engagement letter is a letter sent by whom to whom? Auditor to the management. It is a letter which is sent by the auditor to the whom? To the management. After the commencement of audit or before the commencement of audit? After the commencement of audit or before the commencement of audit? Why the auditor sent this letter before the commencement of an audit? So that management can understand my 4 things. What are the 4 things? Role, responsibilities, objectives and scope. Clear everybody? So that management can understand my objectivity, scope, roles and responsibilities. Later on, do you want any kind of difficulty or no difficulty? No difficulty. That is the reason. Are we taking the precaution or not? Are we taking the precaution or not? Who is taking the promotion? Who is taking the precaution? Auditor is taking the precaution, because if the management is not ready to accept your objective, scope, role and responsibility, there is a point of continuing or there is no point of continuing. There is a point of continuing if the management agrees to your terms and condition, or there is no point of continuing. There is no point of continuing, right? So it's like marriage, right or not? Now tell me one thing, before marriage, do we get engaged or not? So that the boy and a girl can understand each other and they can take up a decision ki do they want to go for the marriage or not. Same is the case. Who is a boy here? Auditor. Who is a girl here? Management. Do they have to first get engaged with each other? Do they have to first get engaged with each other? Yes. So that if the management is okay with the terms and conditions of the auditor and auditor is okay with the terms and conditions of the management, then only we should proceed with the appointment letter. Clear everyone? Invitation cards will be only printed if the girls and boys are ready to marry or not. Tell me. Same is the case here. Same is the case here. If the auditor is ready to accept the audit and management is ready to give the audit, then only the appointment letter will be printed. Clear everyone? Clear everyone? Chalo, let us understand one by one the important aspect of this particular topic. Shall we start? Shall we start? Pawan sir, is there anybody who is in the window for waiting? Pawan sir, is there anybody who is in the window to waiting for coming into the classes? Please allow them, and I'll make sure that their email IDs will be sent to you like I sent you yesterday. If anybody else is also waiting at the starting of the class, please allow them to enter into the class and I will send the email IDs to you. Okay, sir? Am I crystal clear to everybody? Am I audible also? And the screen is also visible, right? Chalo, let us start. So we started yesterday with the first topic called meaning of audit engagement letter. So everyone will repeat the small answers you all have to give me. Tell me, it is a letter drafted by whom? It is a letter drafted by whom? Auditor. On whose letterhead? On whose letterhead? Auditor's letterhead. Are you getting the point? And forwarded to whom? Management. Forwarded to whom? Management. And if the management is not there, we also forward it to the TCWG. Everyone tell me, what do you mean by TCWG? Those charged with governance. TCWG stands for those charged with governance. Are they the lower level management or top level management? TCWG is a top level management. Now, why do we send this letter? We send this letter so that the management can learn my role, responsibility, objectives, and scope. Clear, everyone? Clear, everyone? And it is sent before accepting the which letter? Appointment letter. Say yes if you all agree with that. Say yes if you all agree with that. And this letter should be exchanged before the commencement of an audit. Clear, everyone? This letter should be exchanged before the commencement of an audit. Clear, everyone? Yes. Now, very important point we are going to write now. Very important point. Now, see, this standard, this essay is basically used in case of non-statutory audits. This standard is basically used in case of non-statutory audit. Which audit I wrote? Everyone repeat. Which audit I wrote? Non-statutory audit. But tell me one thing. Did I write that? Did I write? Listen and read the sentence. Did I write that this standard cannot be used in statutory audit? Did I write like this? No. No, I didn't write like this. This standard can be used in every audit. This standard can be used in every audit. But generally, it is used for which kind of audit? Generally, it is used for which kind of audit? Non-statutory audit. Now, should I give you the reason why? Should I give you the reason why? Now, listen to this thing very carefully. Look at the example. Now, tell me one thing. Do we do the cinema hall audit or not? Do we do the cinema audit? Yes. And do we do the company's audit also? Do we do the company's audit also? Yes. Now you just have to give me one simple answer. Which audit is a statutory audit and which audit is a non-statutory audit? You have to give me the answer. Which audit is a statutory audit? Which audit is a non-statutory audit? What do you mean by statutory, non-statutory audit? Which audit is governed under a law and which audit is not governed under a law? Where do we have one particular act and where we don't have a particular act? Do we have any Indian Cinemas Act in India? No. So that makes it a which audit? Non-statutory audit. But do we have a Companies Act in India? Yes. So that makes it a which audit? Statutory audit. Now tell me one thing. Is Companies Act has told all the rights, obligations, duties, responsibilities of the auditor in the act itself or not? Yes or no? Yes. So that is the reason in the Companies Act audit engagement letter is not required to be exchanged. Why it is not required to be exchanged? Because the management also knows the Companies Act. Auditor also knows the Companies Act. So unnecessarily auditor need not send the audit engagement letter to the management. Do you all agree with that? Right or not? Do I have to make them understand my objective, scope, responsibility? No, not required. The reason is it is a which audit? Statutory audit. But tell me one thing, in the cinema hall audit, whether the management knows that what I'm going to do or they do not have any idea. They have no idea. So is it the auditor's responsibility to tell his scope, role, responsibility to the management or not? Yes, it is the auditor's responsibility to tell all those things. Clear, everyone? Clear, everyone? Right, guys? So that is the reason most of the cases we exchange audit engagement letter in case of which audits? Non-statutory audits. Right or not? But in the examination, if they will ask you कि audit engagement letter is not required to be exchanged for statutory audit, is it a correct statement? Is it a correct statement? No, it is not a correct statement. I never said that it is not required for statutory audit. I said that most of the cases it is required for non-statutory audit. I hope every one of you sitting in the class understood the intention of the topic. right or not? So most of the cases it is required to be exchanged in case of what? Non-statutory audits, right? CC, if you all clear, right? CC, if you are all clear, everyone write CC if you are all clear. Okay guys, okay, just give me 1 minute and let me throw one last message in the group so that people can okay everybody. Okay, everybody. I hope up to this point, no doubt at all. Up to this point, no doubt at all. Okay, chalo. Let us understand the next topic. Let us understand the next topic. Now, next topic is how many copies, how many copies of AEL are required? Did you understand the topic? Did you understand the heading? How many copies of AEL are required? How many copies of AEL are required? Shall we start? Right? Yes. Shall we start? Yes. Now see. First of all, tell me, who is sending this letter to whom? Who is sending this letter to whom? Auditor to the management. Now, auditor shall always draft two AEL letters. He shall always draft how many? Two copies. How many copies, guys? Two copies. Are you getting the point? Sir, why auditor has to draft the two copies? Both the copies, both the copies of AEL, both the copies of AEL, auditor shall send it to whom? Management. Both the copies will be sent to whom? Management. Both the copies will be sent to whom? Management. Now tell me one thing. Is there any single copy left with the auditor? No. Sir, both the copies we have sent it to whom? Both the copies we have sent it to whom? Management. Clear everyone? Now, what the management will do? Management should sign, management should stamp, and management should acknowledge those copies. Now tell me, what are the three things management has to do? Management should sign that copy, management should stamp those copies, and management should acknowledge these copies. After that, what the management will do? How many copies we send to the management? Everyone write the answer. How many copies we send to the management? Two copies. So one copy shall be kept by the management. One copy shall be kept by the whom? Company. Am I correct or not? What the another copy will do? Another copy which is duly signed, duly stamped, and duly acknowledged will be sent back to whom? Will be sent back to whom? Tell me, will be sent back to whom? Auditor. One copy will be sent back to whom? Auditor. Now tell me whether the auditor got an evidence or not. Ki management accepted my terms and conditions. Yes or not? So that auditor. Now, do I have to keep this letter in my file or not? Do I have to keep this letter in my file or not? And filing of the evidences is known as documentation. Do you all remember? Filing of the evidences collected is known as what? Documentation. So that auditor can keep this evidence in his documentation. The auditor can keep this evidence in his documentation. And documentation standard number, everyone repeat. What is the standard number for documentation? It is SA 230. What is the standard number? SA 230. Clear everyone? Did you understand the topic? Right, CC, if you all understood? Right, CC, if you all understood? Clear? So tell me one thing. How many copies we have to draft? How many copies? 2 copies. Who drafts? Who drafts? Auditor. Sent to whom? Sent to whom? Management. One copy will be kept by? One copy will be kept by management. Another will be sent back to whom? Auditor. Why it is sent back to whom? Auditor? Because he can keep it as an evidence in his documentation as per SA 230. So can I say that this letter acts as a self-defensing tool? Can I say that this letter acts as a self-defensing tool in future? Tell me one thing. In future, if the management will create any kind of problem, can I show this letter to them on their face or not? Can I show this letter to them on their face or not? Yes, I can show this letter to them on their face, and I can say that, he said, because of this letter only I did this role and responsibility, and you agreed also. Am I correct or not? So can I defend myself in the future? Can I defend myself in the future? Yes. So right, CC, if you all agree with the point number 2 also. Right, CC, if you all agree with the point number 2 also. So point number 1, meaning of audit engagement letter is over. And point number 2, how many copies of audit engagement letter are required? That is also over. Clear everyone? Clear everyone? Done? Okay. Now point number 3. What is the purpose of this letter? Point number 3. What is the purpose of AEL? अब इसको ध्यान से सुनना. Listen to this very carefully. There are two purpose of audit engagement letter. How many purposes are there? There are 2 purposes of audit engagement letter. Sir, what are the 2 purposes? Now listen to this carefully. There are 2 purposes of audit engagement letter. One is known as confirmative purpose and one is known as informative purpose. Everyone clear or not? One is known as confirmative purpose and one is known as informative purpose. Clear everyone? How many purposes are there? Write the answer. 2. One is known as confirmative and one is known as informative. So tell me one thing, guys. Confirmative word has come from the which word? Confirmative word has come from the what word? Confirmation. Confirmative word has come from the word called confirmation. It means, can I say that via this letter, both the parties. Tell me one thing. What do you mean by both the parties? Via this letter, both the parties means what? Both the parties, that is auditor and management. Both the parties means what? Auditor and management are confirming to each other's terms and conditions. Right, CC, if you understood? Right, CC, if you understood? So what is the first purpose? Confirmative. Via this letter, both the parties, that is auditor and management, are confirming to each other's terms and conditions. Clear everyone? Clear everyone? Now tell me, what is the informative word has come from? Informative word has come from the word called information. Now tell me, who is sending this letter? Who is sending this letter? Auditor. Whether auditor has to give some information or not? Whether the auditor has to give some information or not? Yes. So what are the 2 types of information? Auditor has to give 2 types of information. One is known as, now listen to this everyone carefully, very important topic. One is known as must information and one is known as may information. Now tell me, what are the 2 types of information we are giving? Must information and one is known as may information. Tell me everyone, must information means what? Which is mandatory in this letter or optional? Which is mandatory. And may information is optional. It means if the auditor wants, he can include. If the auditor wants, he cannot include. Correct, everybody? So must information are those information which the auditor has to include, and may information is that information which the auditor may include. Correct, everyone? Clear, everyone? Now tell me one thing, what are the four must informations? What are the four must informations? Tell me. Scope, very nice. Objectives, role, responsibilities of an auditor. Correct, everyone? Scope, role, responsibilities, objectives of an auditor. Clear, everyone? Now, along with that, there are three extra must informations which you should also know. How many extra now? Three extra. So 3 plus 4 makes it to what? 3 plus 4 makes it to what? 7 information. Now, next thing. Now tell me one thing. In generally which audit we exchange this letter? Generally in which audit we exchange this letter? Non-statutory audit. Clear, everyone? Now I will ask you a very simple question. You all have to answer. You all have to answer. Now tell me one thing. Whether the cinema hall person may understand that it is a guarantee. Whether the cinema hall persons may understand that it is a guarantee, but are we going to give a guarantee or opinion? Are we going to give a guarantee or opinion? Opinion. So it is whose responsibility to clear his doubted mind? It is whose responsibility? Auditor. So declaration that audit is not a guarantee. Audit is not a guarantee. It is what? Audit is not a guarantee. It is what? It is an opinion. Correct, everybody? Do we have to give this information also or not? Ki audit, bhaiya, audit is not a guarantee. Audit is an opinion. Clear, everyone? Right, CC, if you all understood? Right, CC, if you all understood? Right, everyone? Chalo. Now, tell me one thing. Do we always give the clean opinion, or there are four types of opinion? Do we always give the clean opinion, or there are four types of opinion? There are four. So do I have to tell him or not? Do I have to tell the management of the cinema hall or not? Don't expect me to give always the clean opinion. I may give the qualified opinion also. I may give the adverse opinion also. I may give the disclaimer opinion also. Clear, everyone? So declaration that there can be modified report or there can be unmodified report. Did I include all those four opinions in these two words or not? There can be modified report or there can be unmodified report. Clear, everyone? Clear, everyone? Right? Okay. Now, next one. We also have to declare that if need arises, I may use, if the need arises, auditor may use. Now tell me one thing, can the auditor use the assistance of the client staff or not? Does the auditor have a right to use the assistance of the client staff? Yes. If need arises, auditor may use the assistance of employees or expert or internal auditor. Correct, everybody? Correct, everybody? Now tell me one thing. Is it the auditor's responsibility to clear all these doubts in the management minds or not? Is it the auditor's responsibility to clear all these clarifications in the management mind or not? Yes, that is the reason they all fall under which type of information? Which type of information? May or must? Must information. Now, what do you mean by may information? Whether the auditor mandatorily has to include that information in this letter or he may include. Optional. He may include. Correct, everybody? Right or not? Now tell me one thing. Think logically. Do we discuss the scale of fees via letter or we discuss always the scale of audit fees privately? Do we discuss the fees of an audit on a paper, or do we discuss the fees of an audit privately? But can I discuss the scale of my fees on the letter also or not? If your turnover is up to 10 crores, my fees is 50,000. If the turnover is 10 crores to 100 crores, my fees is going to be 1 lakh. If more than 100 crores, it is going to be 2 lakhs. Correct, everybody? So may discuss, what is the word used? May discuss the scale of fees. We may discuss the scale of fees. Now, are you able to understand why I differentiated between mandatory and optional things? Clear, everyone? Right. Point number two. Point number two. Now tell me one thing. May discuss the scale of fees, that we understood. Sir, is it mandatory to discuss my plan with the staff? Do I have to discuss my plan with the management? Tell me one thing. Whether the auditor must discuss or auditor may discuss. So it is the auditor's will. It is the auditor's power whether he wants to discuss or not. So may discuss audit plan. May discuss what? Audit plan. Clear, everyone? I may discuss the audit plan. And sometimes when the auditor is unable to obtain the evidence on his own, suppose I am unable to obtain the evidence on his own, can I take the management representation letter where the management will write and give me the evidence? Now tell me one thing, guys. If the factory of your client is in Coimbatore, Chennai, if the factory of the client is in Chennai and the client's head office is in Hyderabad, now sometimes it may be a situation that you can't go to Chennai to look at the factory or not. Yes or no? You can't go to the Chennai because you can't leave your Hyderabad clients. So it is always possible to go, or sometimes it is not possible. Sometimes it is not possible. So when it is not possible for you to go to the factory for inspection, but do you need an evidence or not? Do you need an evidence or not? So at that point of time, we may obtain MRL from the management. We may obtain MRL from the management. Everyone, please tell me, what do you mean by MRL? Management Representation Letter. What is the full form? Management Representation Letter. Clear, everyone? And there we have one separate standard called SA 580. So SA 580 talks about which letter? Management Representation Letter. Right, CC, if you all understood the purpose. Right, CC, if you all understood the purpose. So tell me, did you all understand this chart? Did you all understood this chart? So tell me, what are the two types of purpose of an auditor? What are the two types of purpose of an auditor? Write C and I. C stands for confirmative and I stands for informative. Right or not? In the informative, what are the two informations? Write MM. Write MM. What are the two information? Must information, may information. Under the must information, how many informations? 7. Role, scope, responsibility, objective, declaration that it is not a guarantee, it is an opinion, declaration that I may use the modified opinion or unmodified opinion, and declaration that I may use the work performed by others. Clear, everybody? Clear, everybody? And under the may, I may discuss the scale of fees, I may discuss my plan, and I may discuss or I may obtain the MRL. Clear, everyone? Clear, everyone? So with that, our third topic is also over. Now tell me, in the chart, how many topics are over? How many topics as per our chart is over? Meaning is over, purpose is over, number of copies is over. Last two topics are left or not? Last two topics are left, and then after that, our another standard called SA 210 will also be over. Clear, everybody? Shall we complete the standard? Shall we complete the standard? Now, very important topic now. Very, very, very important topic now. Now listen to this. Topic number 4. So what is the topic number 4? Is this letter called AEL? recurring in nature? Is this letter called AEL is recurring in nature? Everyone, please tell me what is the meaning of the word called recurring? What is the meaning of the word called recurring? Please tell me, everyone. Repetitive. Correct or not? So think logically. Think logically. Now, I did the audit of cinema hall in the year 1920. Do you all agree? I did the audit of cinema hall in the year 1920. Clear? Right? Now, in 2021, they again appointed me. In 22-23, again they appointed me. In 23-24, again they appointed me. Do I have to tell my scope, role, objectives, and responsibilities every time? Or one time is enough? Do I have to tell my scope, role, responsibility every time to the same client? Or one time is enough? Tell me, I need an answer. Everyone, one time is enough or not? Uma, listen to this carefully. Uma Mahesh, listen to this carefully. Now, Uma, did you understand what I'm trying to tell? Listen to this carefully. I was appointed for continuously 4 years for a same client. I was appointed for continuously 4 years for the same client to do the same audit. Do I have to send this letter again and again to my client? No, yes, very well said, Manish. Very good. So one time is enough if no changes in terms and condition. Very nice, Manish. Very nice. So I don't have to send this letter again and again. So tell me, what is your answer for the question which I have written? Is this letter recurring in nature? Tell me. Generally, this letter is non-recurring in nature. Generally, this letter is what? Non-recurring in nature. What recurring? Non-recurring in nature. Clear, everybody? Generally, this letter is non-recurring in nature. Clear, everybody? Clear, everybody? But listen and read the sentence again. Is there any hidden information in this sentence? Is the sentence looking okay to you, or there is one hidden information? There is a hidden information. What is the word I used? What is the word I used? Generally. So generally this letter is non-recurring in nature. It means there are some exceptional cases. There are some exceptional cases in which this letter becomes what? There are some exceptional cases in which this letter becomes what? Tell me. Recurring. There are some exceptional cases in which this letter becomes what? Recurring. Clear, everyone? Should we do that cases? Should we do those cases in which this letter becomes recurring? Clear, everyone? Now, case number 1. Sir, case number 1. When there is considerable change in the management of a client. Now listen to this very carefully. I will ask you 2 questions. You have to give me the 2 right answers. Clear, everybody? I expect the right answer from you. Think logically. I will make it very simple language. Should I start? Okay, now listen to this very carefully. I worked with PVR Cinemas last year. This year again I am working with the PVR Cinemas. Last year Mr. X was the director in PVR Cinema. Out of all the 15 directors, Mr. X was one of the director. But this year Mr. X is not a director. Mr. Y has come in place of Mr. X. Now tell me, is it a huge change in the management, or is it a small chinna change in the management? Is it a small change in the management? Now do I have to send this letter again? No. No, what is the word I used? What is the word I used? Tell me. What is the word I used? Considerable change in the management. Then only we have to send this letter again. Clear, everybody? If there's a considerable change in the management, then only we have to send this letter again. Clear, everybody? Now, listen to my second example. Last time in the PVR cinemas, 15 directors were there. This time, out of 15, all the 15 directors are replaced by new 15 directors. All the old 15 directors are replaced by new 15 directors. Now tell me, is it a small change or considerable change? Yes. So do I have to tell the new directors my terms and conditions again or not? Older directors to whom I told, they already left the company. So do I have to tell them newly or not? Yes. So when there is a which kind of change in the management? When there is a which kind of change in the management? Considerable change in the management. Point number 2, when there is a considerable change in the nature and size of the entity. In the nature and size of the entity. Now tell me one thing. Everyone, clear? Listen to this thing. Up to last year, my client was doing the manufacturing and trading of gold. My client was doing the manufacturing and trading of iron and steel. Clear, everyone? Up to last year, my client was doing the manufacturing and trading of iron and steel. This year, my client has started import and export of iron also. Now tell me, business is still same or business is changed? Business is still same or business is changed? Their business is changed. So do I have to send this letter again? Whether my way of doing the work next year also will change or not? Everyone clear? Right, CC, if you all are clear? Right, CC, if you all are clear? So again, when there's a considerable change in the nature and size of the entity. Now tell me, size of the entity also increased or not? Size of the entity also increased or not? Right, everybody? Size of the entity also increased or not? Yes, sir. Size of the entity also increased. That is why the letter is also required to be sent again. Clear, everybody? Clear, everybody? Right, CC, if you all agree? Right, CC, if you all agree? Yes. Third one. Are you understanding now? Are you understanding the logics? Are you understanding the logics? No, 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 no. Not required, Uma. Not required. Not required. If we are going to the same client, it is not required. Okay. Now, when there is a considerable change in the line of activity of the business, now tell me one thing. Up to last year, the cinema hall business was making the people watch pictures or not? Up to last year, what was the business? Up to last year, the business was showing the pictures, showing the films in the cinema hall. Are you getting the point or not? Now tell me one thing. Do you all know PVR cinemas? Do you all know PVR cinemas? Right or not? So PVR cinema is very much popular for what? Movies, or very much popular for the game parlor? Movies. But this year, due to corona, movies are completely over. Due to corona, can you go to the cinema hall? No. Now suppose whether the PVR to survive in the market will do another business or not. Yes or not? So this year when you will do the audit of the PVR, is it going to be cinema hall audit or is it going to be different kind of another business? It is going to be different business. Am I correct? So do I have to send this letter again for or not? Do I have to send this letter again or not? Yes. Point number 4. When there is change in legal and statutory requirements. When there's a change in legal and statutory requirements of entity. Now, up to last year, now listen to this clear. Now, ask Sumesh, if there is same business line and if in this scenario they won't get any profits, is audit? Yes, audit is very much necessary. Sumesh, tell me what is the definition of audit? Whether profit oriented or not? Did I tell you whether the profit oriented or not? In the definition of audit in the very beginning class? Yes, so either you are earning the profit or you are not earning the profit. Audit is always mandatory. Audit never runs because of profits. Clear everyone? Clear everyone? Now read the point number 4. Okay, I will give you the question, you give me the answer. I'll give you the question, you give me the answer. Tell me guys, up to last year my client was partnership firm. Up to last year my client was which firm? Partnership firm. This year he converted his partnership firm into company. Now tell me, up to last year which act was going on? Up to last year which act was going on? I was doing the audit under PF Act. Now this year am I going to do the audit under PF Act or Companies Act? So whether the legal and statutory requirements of the entity are changed or not? Whether the legal and statutory requirements of the entity are changed or not? Yes sir, it is changed. Clear everyone? Clear everyone? Chalo, great. Point number 5. When there are special or specified changes required by an auditor. When there are special or specified changes required by an auditor. Now listen to this very carefully. Listen to this very carefully. Now, did I write there is a change in the entity or change required by an auditor? Change required by an entity or change required by an auditor? Tell me everyone. It is a change required by an auditor. Now listen to this very carefully. Listen. Up to last year I was charging 50,000 rupees. Up to last year I was charging 50,000 rupees. And client was ready to give me 50,000 rupees. But due to the corona effect, whether client's business is same or client's business is reduced. Now whether do I have to reduce my audit fees also or not? Do I have to reduce my audit fees also or not? Yes or no? When the client's business is reduced, will he be able to afford the same audit fees or I have to reduce it? I have to reduce it. So due to the gratitude manner, I have to reduce it. Very well said, Somesh. Under the gratitude manner, do I have to reduce it? Yes. So that's the reason there is a special or specified change demanded by whom? Auditor. Clear everyone? Clear everyone? Right, CC, if you all agree? Yes. Point number 6. When there is change in reporting responsibilities of an auditor. Now listen to this very carefully. Very simple topic and you will give me the answer. Now should I ask you the question now? This is how we learn the audit practically. Should I ask you the question now? Now tell me one thing. When my client was a partnership firm, I was reporting to whom? When my client was a partnership firm, I was reporting to whom? Partners. I was reporting to the partners. But now my client is a company. Do I have to report it to the management or shareholders? Shareholders. So reporting responsibility is same or reporting responsibility changed? Reporting responsibility also changed. So when the partnership firm was there, there were no shareholders. That's why we have to report it to the management only. When the partnership firm was there, there were no shareholders. We had to report it to whom? Management called partner. Partners are management only or not? Correct everybody? But in the case of company, do we report it to the management or shareholders? We report it to the shareholders. So reporting responsibility of the auditor is same or changed? Changed. So do I have to tell to the client or not? Okay, my responsibilities have changed. So no more I'm going to report it to you. I'm going to report it to the shareholder. So we have to send this letter again. Right, CC, if you all agree. Right, CC, if you all agree. And point number 7, very important point. Due to changes, amendments, announcements given by whom? Filling the blanks. Given by whom? Our temple. ICAI. Very nice. Due to the changes, amendments, and announcements given by whom? ICAI. Clear, everyone? Clear, everyone? Right, CC, if you all are done? Right, CC, if you all are done? Now, whenever the ICAI will change my standards, whenever the ICAI will bring any new changes, do I have to change my way of doing the audit or not? Do I have to change my way of doing or not? So can I say that ICAI also sometimes make this letter recurring in nature? Yes or no? Yes. I hope all of you are crystal clear with all the 7 points written in front of you. So these are those 7 circumstances under which the audit engagement letter becomes what? Filling the blanks. These are the 7 circumstances under which the audit engagement letter becomes what? Recurring in nature. But generally it is what? Non-recurring in nature. Generally it is non-recurring in nature. So when there's a change in partners of an Akhil, we have already covered this point, I suppose. Considerable change in the management. Akhil, we have already covered that point, what you are asking. Clear, Akhil? Considerable change in the management is nothing but called change in the number of partners. Akhil, we have already covered that point. Clear, everybody? Clear, everybody? Yes? Okay. Now, let's come back to the last topic of this standard and let us finish this standard. What is the last topic? When management demands change in terms and conditions. When the management demands change in terms and conditions of engagement. When the management demands the change in terms and conditions of the engagement, what an auditor shall do. Right or not? Now listen to this very carefully. Listen to this very carefully. There's one small point which I have to show you. After that, we'll start. Okay? Okay, I'm unable to find that. So let's do it on our own. Okay. So are you able to read the topic? What is the topic name? when the management demands the change in terms and conditions. Now tell me one thing. Did I send the letter of audit engagement to the management or not? Did I send or not? Now, management is reading that letter. Everyone imagine this case study. Now, management is reading my letter right now. You are a management. You are a management and you are reading my letter right now. Did you understand? So, I am the auditor. You are a management and you are reading my letter right now. So, management demanded change in such terms and conditions which is justified, which is reasonable, and not affecting the independence and objectivity of an auditor. Clearly understand the whole sentence and give me your answer. I will ask you one question and you tell me the answer. Should I ask you one question, everyone? Should I ask you one question? Tell me. Are you ready for the question? Everyone, please reply. Okay, now listen to this case very carefully. In my letter, I wrote the timings. In my letter, I wrote the timings. Every day, 10 to 2 p.m., 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., I'll come and do the audit. What is my timing of doing the audit? Tell me, what is the timing of doing the audit? 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Now, management, when they were reading my letter, management called me immediately and they said that, Rohit, can you please change your timing from 2 to 6? I asked them why. Because 10 to 2 is our peak business working hours. 10 to 2 is our peak business working hours. During that time, we will be unable to help you. So we don't want that you should say that we did not help you. That's why please change your timings from 2 to 6, because 2 to 6 our business is very low and we can give you the 100% assistance and help. Now tell me one thing, whether the change in timings of an audit is affecting the audit or not affecting the audit. So not affecting the audit, huh? Now tell me, just because the change in the timings, is it affecting your objectivity? Are they telling you to become partial and biased? No. Are they telling you to compromise your independence? No. They are just demanding a small minor change or not? They are just demanding a small minor change or not? Yes. And is this change justified? Whether their reason is also justified? Yes. So tell me one thing, are you going to accept this change? And you are not going to accept this change. You are going to accept this change. So what is our answer? Acceptable. What is our answer, guys? Acceptable. And continue the audit. Correct, everyone? Did you understand the answer? Acceptable and continue the audit. So when the change demanded by the management is justified, what is the word I use? Justified and reasonable and not affecting the independence and objectivity of an auditor, what the auditor should do? That change is acceptable. What the auditor should do? That change is acceptable and continue the audit. That change is acceptable and continue the audit. Clear, everyone? Clear, everyone? Yes. Now, on the other side, when the change in terms and conditions demanded by management are unjustified, unreasonable, and affecting the independence and objectivity of an auditor. Right or not? What you are going to do? Now listen to this very carefully. I am going to ask you another question now. You all were reading my letter. You all are the management people. You all were reading my letter. In my letter, did I write my scope, role, responsibility, and objectives or not? Tell me, everyone, did I write my scope, role, responsibilities, and objectives or not? Now, when I wrote my scope, role, responsibilities, and objective, and when you were reading the letter, in the letter it was clearly mentioned, do I have an access over all types of books of accounts? Do I have the access over all types of books of accounts? All financial statements, every voucher, everything which is available in the client's plate or not? Did I mention that? Now, within half an hour, one of you, the management member calls me. I'm the auditor, and you are saying that Rohit, we will show you everything. We will show you everything in the audit. While doing the audit, we will fully cooperate with you, but sorry, we can't show you the cash register. Which register you are unable to show me? Cash register. Now tell me, there might be a possibility that there are some cash transactions done in the cash register which are not allowed under the law. As you all know, section number 40A2 of the PGBP chapter of Income Tax Act says that any cash payment made more than 10,000 or 20,000 is allowed or not allowed. More than 10,000 is allowed or not allowed? Not allowed. So there might be a case that they want to hide that information from me or not. There might be a case they want to hide that information from me or not. Now tell me, are they trying to compromise my objectivity and independence by not showing the cash register? Yes. Whether this change demanded by them is justified or not justified? Not justified. Is it reasonable or unreasonable? Unreasonable. So tell me, should I accept that change or I should not accept that change? Now, very important question to you. Question is, when they demanded that change. When they demanded that change. If they demanded that change before the acceptance of an audit. Now tell me one thing. Do we exchange this letter after appointment letter or before appointment letter? Before. So if they demanded that change before the acceptance of an audit, what you can do? If they demanded that change. Nah, no. Somesh will come to that point later on. Negative report is not at all possible nowadays. Once you give the negative report to any client, the client will be completely out of the market. So you have to think 200,000 times before giving a negative report. Are you understanding my point? So we'll come back to this point when we'll do the 700 series. Okay? Okay, Somesh? Now, everyone, please understand. Does it matter that when the management demanded this change? Does it matter that when the management demanded this change? Yes. When the management demanded this change, when? What is on the left side I wrote? When the management demanded this change, before or after? Before acceptance. Do I have a choice or not to ready to do the work or not to do the work? Do I have a choice? Now, in this case, what the ICA is saying, raise the issue with TCWG. Now tell me one thing. Should I report or should I make a complaint to TCWG or not? Now ICA is saying raise the issue with the TCWG. Should I complain to the TCWG? What is TCWG? Management or top level management? Management or top level management? Top level management. Raise the issue with the TCWG. Now TCWG also will give me the two types of replies. TCWG also give me the two types of replies. Yes, they will rectify. No, they will not rectify. Now tell me, are they accepting or not? If the TCWG is ready to understand what I told, now tell me, should I continue or should I discontinue? If the TCWG is ready to rectify the mistakes of the management, if the TCWG is ready to rectify the mistakes of the management, should I continue or discontinue? Accept and continue. Everyone can do the mistakes or not, guys. Hasty decision we should not take. Right or not? TCWG said that, okay, we'll talk to the management. Whatever they said that, we are sorry for that. Please accept the audit. Should I accept and continue? Yes. But if the TCWG is telling me, no sir, our policy is that we never show our cash register to anybody. What should I do? TCWG is not ready to rectify. TCWG is not ready to rectify. Then the answer is withdraw from the engagement. Correct, everyone? Correct, everyone? Tell me if you all understood it. Tell me if you all understood it. Clear, everyone? CC? CC? Yes. Now, what is the second problem? What is the second problem? When they demanded this change? Before or after now? After acceptance of audit. They demanded this change when? After the acceptance of audit. Are you all understanding? Am I making you clear every concept clearly? Right? Now, they demanded this change. They demanded this change when? They demanded this change when? Everyone. When did they demand this change? Before or after now? After. Now it means audit has already started or not? And I have already accepted the appointment letter or not? Now, is it possible to withdraw? Is it possible to withdraw? No, it is not possible to withdraw. Now, what should I do? Now, what should I do? Now, listen to this thing. In this case, what we'll do, auditor shall express. I will give you two options. Auditor shall express modified opinion or unmodified opinion. Give me the answer. Think logically before answering, Akhil. Should I give modified opinion or unmodified opinion? Are they doing wrong with me or not? Are they doing the wrong with me or not? It is not a clean report. So I have to give a auditor shall express or issue a modified report. Issue a which report? Modified report. Now, I can't withdraw, but do I have the power to give the modified opinion or not? I can't withdraw, but do I have the power to give the modified opinion? So, modified opinion as per SA 705 revised. So, what is 705 revised? We'll do when we'll do the 700 series. Clear, everyone? We have to give the modified report as per SA 705 revised. Clear, everyone? Clear, everyone? So, this is what do you mean by this chart? I hope this question, if it will come in the examination, you will be able to do that. If this question will come in the examination, you will be able to do that. So tell me one thing. If the management asking some changes and those changes are justified, reasonable and not affecting my independence and objectivity, should I accept that change? Yes. Should I continue with the audit? Yes. So if the management is asking some changes in the terms and conditions which are unjustified, unreasonable and affecting my independence and objective, should I continue or should not continue? Should I accept or should not accept? Should not accept. But problem is that depends ki when they are asking the change. Is it correct? Problem is when they are asking this change. If they are asking this change before the acceptance of an audit, if they are asking this change before the acceptance of an audit, what shall we do? What shall we do? Raise the issue with TCWG. If the TCWG is ready to rectify the situation, if the TCWG is ready to rectify the situation, should I continue? Yes. But if the TCWG is also saying the same thing, should I continue or discontinue? I can withdraw. I can withdraw because it is happening before. Correct? Correct, everybody? Yes. Now, on the other side, what if they are asking me this change after the acceptance of an audit? Can I withdraw now? No. But do I have an opportunity to give them a negative report or not? Yes, I'll give them a which report? Modified. Now, so many of you might be understanding, so many of you are having a confusion. Sir, whether qualified, whether adverse or disclaimer. Tell me, do you all have that doubt or not? So modified means whether qualified, adverse or disclaimer. Remember one thing. The first rule of audit, never become too specific in the answer. What is the first rule? Never become too specific in the answer. If you will become too specific in the answer, then examiner will catch you and he will grill you and he will give you very less marks. Now tell me, when I'm using the modified word, am I giving the examiner an answer ki it can be qualified, it can be adverse or it can be disclaimer or not? Am I putting the examiner in confusion or not? Yes, this is how you play in the examination. This is how you play in the examination. Right, CC, if you all agree with me. Right, CC, everyone. Okay. Crystal clear today's topic? Clear, everyone? So, with that, what are the two standards we are done with? What are the two standards we are done with? We are done with SA 200. We are done with SA 210. Now, there is one small topic which we have to learn today. What is that topic? So, 200 stands for OO.